Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eriko. I work in a regulatory support office with Resija Nambia. So today, I'm going to give a quick review of CT.gov so that we are all on the same page. And I give some important updates, metrics, and some useful tips at the end. So let's review what CT.gov is. So CT.gov is a clinical trial registry and results database run by National Library of Medicine at NIH. So there are two interfaces. One is public interface on the top. Anyone can look up the trial for any reason. The other interface is a protocol registration and results system, or PRS, which requires university-specified login. And so this is where responsible party register and post result. So this is very much like a ERB system. The goal is to increase the transparency and reduce the publication bias. Basic three functions are investigator to register the trial, update the trial, and report the summary results in tabular format. So now, why do we have to register and report results? Why? This is why. So many agencies and organizations are now requiring CT.gov reporting. So since I talked about each requirement in detail in my last talk back in last June and July, I'm just going to highlight three main reasons, three big why we need to register and results reported. So one of the most compelling reasons for registering clinical trial is the International Committee of Medical Journal Editor publication policy that require all clinical trial for all intervention to be registered before enrollment of the first participants. So if you want to publish your study, you need to register, because most journal will reject your submission, so your manuscript will likely not to go to peer review. And NIH dissemination policy require all NIH-funded clinical trial to be registered and results reported. And most importantly, federal law, FDA Amendment Act 801 and final rule requires that FDA regulated applicable clinical trial to be registered and results reported. So the general requirement under the final rule are that responsible parties, so typically PI, for applicable clinical trial must register on clinicaltrial.gov no later than 21 days after enrollment of the first participant. So trial must be updated at least once a year, so similar to continuing review in ERB, and some information in the record requiring more timely update, such as study start date, primary, and study completion date, should be revised from anticipated date to actual date within 30 days of the changes. So again, these are required by law. And the final rule requires summary results for both primary, secondary outcome that are pre-specified in the IRB approved protocol, and all adverse events must be submitted no later than 1 year after the trial primary completion date. So if your protocol happened to list 20 exploratory outcome under secondary outcome, those results, if they are collected, must be reported, and CT.gov reviewer will actually verify it by cross-checking the protocol. So, and please note that primary completion date is the date of the last study visit where data was collected for the primary outcome. So investigators often get confused with this definition. So this date is not the date of data analysis completion or journal publication, study completion, or ERB study closure. None of that. Again, it is the last day of data collection for the primary outcome. So that's when 12 months clock starts for the deadline to do the results posting. So whatever day it is, your results are due within 1 year from that day. So primary completion date is your time clock. So please be sure to update the date in timely manner. and give yourself enough time to work on the results reporting. Because what I see is that, so there's a discrepancy in study status in ERB, like study CR and clinicaltrial.gov record. And then I contact the investigator to reconcile. Then I learned study was actually completed a year ago, but the primary completion date in CT.gov was never updated. So when you change the primary completion date, like backdate it, say like January 2020, the record immediately become non-compliance because remember, results are due 1 year from the primary completion date. So this is very important. And suddenly your trial are facing serious consequences and penalties. So many of you are already aware that there are financial penalties for non-compliance. So U.S. government could impose $12,103 per day per trial for any non-compliance. So this fine schedule was initially introduced by FDA Amendment Act in 2007, but it is beginning to be enforced after 10 plus year of grace period, like this year. So FDA recently released a guidance document describing the process of collecting fine from investigator. So this is, pretty good drastic fine and pretty good reason why we want to stay in compliance. And here are other consequences for late registration and results reporting for your references. So we can assist investigator be compliant with the federal regulation. So we ran the CT.gov program at the beginning of last summer. So we are continuing to make an improvement. So currently we offer group 101 training. We assist with registration, results reporting, resolving PRS major reviewer comments. We also this year started office hour by appointment this year. So for more information about our program, feel free to email us. So now let's talk about metrics. So how are we doing as an institution? So according to FEDA non-compliance trial tracker website, our compliance rate proportion was 68.2% in May. So this website actually takes data from public CT.gov interface. So this is exactly what the public sees in terms of our compliance. So in January, so just last week, we are 100% compliant. Thank you everyone for working really hard to make this happen. So important to note that this 100% compliance is for FDA regulated applicable clinical trial. So it actually does not include NIH funded trial that are not FDA applicable clinical trial or trial that are voluntary registered. So we generated all metrics that include all trial and their compliance directly from CT.gov internal database that are only accessible to institutions administrator. So this shows overall real-time compliance for all UT Southwestern records. So blue histogram is the total number of trial that is registered under UT Southwestern account. So green is the number of record with no problem, so no issue. And the orange one is the problem record that are not FDA regulated trial, but has been flagged in the system with some sort of errors, which must be corrected. And the red one is the FDA regulated trial, and their trials are currently under CT.gov review. So it has not been accepted yet. So our goal is to continue with 100% compliant in non-compliance tracker website. So this one, we want to keep it this way. And the orange one here and red one to be as low as we can. So we will be sharing CT.gov metric every research matter. So we'll be showing that. Okay, so I want to end with some helpful tips to the registration and results reporting. So according to Deborah Darin, a former director of CT.gov for past 13 years, CT.gov registration and results posting are scientific tasks rather than administrative tasks, requiring basic statistical, epidemiological knowledge, especially for the results reporting. So with that in mind, here are the tips for registration. Initiate CT.gov registration prior to ERB submission. This is very important. Because according to NIH estimate, it can take up to 10 hours and review cycle may take up to 7 days. And then again, PI, COI, whoever understands the clinical trial designed to do the outcome measure module, because this module is considered scientific module. And for results, again, start early. Enter results 3 to 4 months before the due date. NIH said it can take up to 50 hours. And it, of course, depends on the complexity of the trial. Multi-arm, multi-stage, multi-outcome takes much longer than the single-arm, single-site pilot trial with sample size, right? So now, before you begin entering summary results for the outcome, we recommend investigator to look for example for outcome description at the public site. So you can see the outcome measure description that CT.gov has previously accepted. So this is a really great way to learn how to enter data and pass the CT.gov review, because CT.gov follows very strict standardized review criteria. And again, so whoever understands the study, and then whoever actually analyze the data to do the results section, because now you need to summarize raw data, derive outcome measure in aggregated format, choose appropriate unit of measure, measure type, and associated precision. This can get really complex and it can overwhelm you. So, and also please remember that CT.gov records are linked to publication via NCT number. Therefore, it is critical that the CT.gov is up to date and list accurate data so the publication and CT.gov record agrees. And lastly, so please always complete the CT.gov submission cycle. So as you can see in this figure, record must be marked as an entry completed by whoever entered the data. And note that anyone on the study team can assist with CT.gov reporting, but responsible party, so PI, needs to verify the data entry and submit it to the CT.gov as it is required by law. And here are, if you have any question, here are the list of contact person for the CT.gov issue. And I'm including a selected list of resource. So if you have a question, email us. I am going to pass to Kelechi or Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. We didn't see feedback. Erica, there you go. Okay, Erica was muted. I think the feedback has gone away. And I would just like to personally applaud and celebrate the efforts of Erica and Razija and everybody in the HRPP who's helping to support the CT.gov compliance. Getting to 100% compliance is just amazing. And it's just wonderful to see us getting